game.
I'm thinking support Maokai here to combo with the Kalista. Or I'm wrong. This would be a very powerful ball comp. You have 4 melee and a Kalista who's short range. You have the ultimate from the Taric to get thrown down there. He can also get tossed in with the rest of your front line. Sets up these stuns very easily with his WE combinations on any of the other melees. This is a all-in comp though. You do one thing. You go, I guess technically you can split. You might do 2 things, but you go in or you split the map.
Well, there is the Taric there. There is the Maokai jungle for Inspired. And last but not least, Tinones had his choice of counter picks. He's going to go to Victor. Been old faithful for a lot of mid laners at this tournament. Should be just fine 1v1, especially in the early levels. Don't expect too much interaction from Jojo and Tinones, but obviously the champions do pretty different things, kind of aligning with the comps that these teams have drafted.
I mean, this is kind of similar to what we were talking about for game 1, where one team has the clear desire to push the pace in the early game. Last time it was Fnatic, this time it's EEG. These matchups can all get very bloody very quickly. You can snowball any of these lanes if you're able to find these kills by EG. You have to think that Loud does have a scaling advantage, playing to some team fight prowess. All these ultimates extremely impactful on their side, as well as just having higher DPS if left to free hit as backline members. Puts the onus on EG to either snowball the game to the point you can just hard engage left and right, not need to worry about a clean engage, or you need to have very high execution, get these good character ultimates out, or the side of Loud, you want to kite that out, kind of weather that first engage, make sure you get through that invulnerability phase before re-engaging.
Yeah, you got to pick your targets well, can't ball up for ultis. Like, both of execution very much on EG, and I guess, interestingly, 2 games so far at Worlds, 2 different drafts we've seen now. The team that is favored is taking the more early game aggressive picks, which you can posit different reasons for why that is.
It does feel like a good benefit for that reason, that if you want to go in, you want to be aggressive, you want to assert your dominance, there's a lot of matchups that can make that happen. And we'll see if EG can pull it off, find their first win of Worlds in 2022.
Find out in just a moment. Should be a fun one, if nothing else. Also continuing to keep my eyes on Maokai, especially in the jungle, because it looked nutty.
Yosi made that look good.
Yeah, Fosig did not make the champion look very balanced, we'll have to say. As EG and Loud, you can hear the hometown crowd very loud for Loud's win yesterday. That was unintentional, but I see I've walked into it. I imagine the fans will continue their cheering today. They've been great already with every guy in the audience being nice and loud. Continue the support here for Brazil.
And we'll see a little bit of aggression. They can land that blind bandage toss over the wall. You always have to guess, is it the front of the bush or the back of the bush that you're going to throw it in? Sales tried the front. Unfortunately, Kaori was not even in the bush.
Does potentially keep himself away from that there, as we have a pause.
Dun, dun, dun. We'll see if anyone is typing. There's one thing you can say about EG. There's no shortage of loudmouths. Yeah. They are maybe the chattiest team I've seen thus far in lobbies and whatnot. Pulling out completely. We'll see what the update is if we get one.
Well, as soon as we have it, we'll give it to you. Don't worry, I'm not withholding information from you. You are right, though, about the mouths. Jojo, obviously pretty famous for
his tweets are dangerous. I don't know if anyone saw the one from earlier today.
For this game?
Yeah, we're saying their EG will be Germany for today, referencing that famous World Cup from a little while ago.
That is quite dangerous. Very dangerous indeed. Well, you know what? Jojo never backs down. That's part of the reason we love him.
Doubles down. There's no tweet that he seems to have regretted, despite how many times he has said things like, I'm going to clap Faker, doesn't happen, going to clap Caps, doesn't happen, That's why he's so lovable.
It keeps going. And, Vulcan, of course. I mean, in some ways, he says the mastermind of a lot of Jojo's tweets. I don't think that's necessarily true.
Hasn't been.
Vulcan doesn't have the bravado.
I don't think there's any evidence of that. It's one, he says.
Yeah, true.
Brance as well is someone who I think I've really enjoyed watching him in Champions Queue. He has very much fit in, even though, he's learning English from the Zoomers as they go. It's very funny to see them all popping off, stealing each other's language. Some of it I won't repeat. But it's really cool to see that kind of a blending of all the different metas, all the different cultures, attitudes, just all that stuff that you kind of get only at Worlds, really, where you have all these streams available, tracking the pros as well. Now Champions Queue kind of taking that to the next level with everyone on voice comms with each other. It's been very, very cool to see.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I said, like don't get very many international events a year. This is the biggest by far as far as number of teams coming. And even though not all the teams have shown their faces yet, we are just in the early stages of the tournament. Plenty of teams are here either playing or maybe a little early. And it has been fun to watch them all interact.
Alrighty, I got a little update. I don't know if you heard it.
I did not.
The Pause Lord himself, Vulcan, is having a problem with his monitor, he said. Sounds like maybe similar to what Tinons might have got hit with. I'm not sure. We'll see. You can see them hovering over his shoulder. This is the EG comfort zone, though. The Pause is versus TSM, getting them through a tough best-of-5. Now here against Loud, freezing them out. Tactical pause. No, of course, that's not actually what's happening.
Yeah, no, not at all.
So here's something fun.
Okay.
A lot of pauses yesterday, a lot of delays and whatnot. I always go back and just watch some of the VODs and things like that, you know, see how people are doing. What's always funny to me is the amount of people who say things like, stop talking, start the game. As if you and I want to be filling time instead of watching
or have any control over what's happening.
Let alone the fact
which we don't, by the way.
Not even desire, also control, to your point. But here's what fans don't know at home. So people might have seen the trend on Twitch with the uncapped subathons.
Oh, yeah, those are fun.
Yeah, as you sub, if you're not familiar, when you sub to a streamer, suddenly they have to stay live for another 30 seconds or whatever it is, and it goes up, and people donate hundreds, and then suddenly they're on for 11 days in a row, which I think Cadril was recently.
Yeah.
What they don't know is every time you say, stop talking, start the game, there's a secret timer, which increases the delay another 10 seconds.
Oh, no.
So Twitch chat, if you want this game to start, everyone stop talking right now. Stop typing. What did I tell you? What did I tell you? I'm going to watch the VOD. I'm checking it later and seeing if that worked.
He'll check the tapes, Twitch chat.
Twitch chat, you better not have typed anything.
And we're back! EG vs Loud, second game of the day. Right on schedule. Thank you, Mr. Zimmerman.
Doing my duty.
Not helping to dispel people's potential.
I don't want uncapped pausathons. Uncapped pausathons are not for me.
That's true. That's not the entertainment.
I had to let them know of the secret tech. I'm sorry if anyone is somehow believing what I just said is true. It is not. I just want to clarify that.
But that could not have worked out any better. I will say it's Gary Vulcan lining up in the 2v2 here.
Alrighty, so now getting back into this game, like we were saying, very aggressive lanes for the side of EG and with Maokai. Not necessarily, I don't think, even with the buffs and changes that came in, a powerhouse in early game, but does have a lot of gank setup. And the lanes themselves, a lack of mobility for Tinons. You know, you do have to play safe, have your gravity field in a good position and whatnot to survive some of these ganks if you're getting flashed on top of and stuff. So it does put, I think, pressure on Inspired to try and make something happen. We'll see who's getting the advantages. EG playing aggressive level 1 with that Callista. You can see Vulcan threatening menacingly in the brush. Topside Impact as well, trying to play a little bit in front. Has the Comet as well for a little bit stronger laning prowess. So you see some nice tippers early on.
Oh, nice little one there as well. Getting Robo with the third Q. Now going to trade back. Seeing that pretty typical dynamic. Robo, though, getting a better of impact early on. The E hits as well. Extra damage there just as the transform hits for Gnar.
Alrighty, Gnar from Robo looking pretty good for him. Able to grab a bit of an advantage in that lane phase. Also has the Doran's Blade and Fleet Footwork to stay sustained up. Both of them are going to be able to sustain quite a bit. Doran's Shield for impact. Robo's most played champion in the split is Gnar, so he's very comfortable on these kinds of bruisers / tanks that play on the weak side of the map. That will enable Croc, I think, to have the duty of tracking Inspire, making sure none of these ganks are coming through, especially in the bot side. Will probably be one of the more threatening matchups as more levels come in, but early, the first 3 levels before Tarek has his full kit unlocked, a little bit harder to find these ganks. So I really like Croc actually pathing up to the top side here and trying to exploit this Aatrox.
Yeah, diving coming, level 3 ticks right over, massive minion wave there, but Croc's going in, impacted, maybe in trouble there. But Robo getting targeted, Croc looking low, but it's first blood to Robo!
Oh boy, Impact went for the flash Q3 on Robo, died mid-air, so the flash goes down, but did not actually get the damage out. Robo leaving that one at half health, first blood onto Impact as a massive minion wave crashes. You can see Impact teleporting back, but down 15 CS already, trying to get the kill on the Robo here, actually.
Has to fight, damage is good, but the pullback doesn't happen. No extra damage incoming. Redive likely not to happen. I think that's part of why Impact wanted to pick that fight, because the wave is so big. kind of dangerous to thin it with not harassing you, so just going to go ahead and pull it back and try and salvage some of this. But this was such a good play out of Loud.
Yeah, nice trade by Robo to set this one up. Massive minion wave crashing at the same time. Inspire was pathing the other way, so they knew that this was going to be a pretty uncontested dive. You can see Croc got fairly low. Good job disengaging that turret aggro at just the right time. Even if Impact lands that Q3 on Robo, I don't really think that's changing how that play is going to go. Nice first blood from them. TP back in. Minion wave on Impact side. Looks like from the number of minions should be frozen for a little bit, so we'll be somewhat safe now.
Yeah, well, it's flash for flash as well. Robo did use his to make sure the Impact wasn't going to get anything happening there. So he returns back now with the heal cut. It's always nice in the 1v1, especially when you get it early. Vulcan in trouble, though, in the 3v2. It's trouble in paradise. Croc going to get that kill Inspired here, but he's far too late. Still going back in, though, as Kaori wants to get aggressive on the Callista, and that's the counter kill they're looking for.
All right, Inspired salvaging that play. Croc getting onto both side lanes early on the map, having a very good showing so far, but Sales was being targeted down, had a lot of spears into him. Inspired made sure that was the one that he kind of served up for Kaori to keep hitting. They find the kill there. Jojo getting a little low. Should be okay. No mana on the Victor really to threaten a kill.
Yeah, first strike gold looking good, but Jojo actually feeling fine as far as total XP goes. Interesting. If you hit 6 early enough, he could threaten onto Tinones, but Tinones should have that timer in the back of his mind. Actually calling over Inspired as well.
Oh,
good
no.
flash. Gravity field.
In turret
2
range.
tower shots as well. Inspired in trouble. Seos diving back through, but Amumu does not have the damage for that play. Here's Croc, though, who certainly does, but looks like Inspired's going to get away from it.
Ooh, I think Vulcan showing up there actually saved him. Some very heads-up play by Vulcan. If you didn't catch it, he used his execute on the minion to get some of the healing that goes over in gold, and also reset his Q passive. So he was able to get a couple extra heals on Maokai there and make sure that Inspire was topped up and healthy to run away from that situation, because otherwise, very dangerous. Well played by Tinones, getting that gravity field just on the edge of turret range, making Inspired take a couple extra turret shots.
Yep. I like this from Jojo too again. This is very, very common in Akali vs Mage. You're trying to tap the mana pool as best you can, harass, threatens there with the Shuriken. Could have maybe though, probably wouldn't have, but just buying a bit more time, trying to get some advantage here because it's so painful in the early levels and Victor's just harassing you in range versus melee. But that's all water under the bridge. By the looks of things, it is going to be nice and even as things reset. Both mids have TP. Impact's in trouble again, though. Robo really getting some mileage out of this counter pick.
Yeah, on the wrong side of the turret, though.
Good jump away.
Has the
Crunches
blast
out of
zone.
there. Boskin should be fine and is going to be safe.
Nicely done by Robo, though, pulling pressure for Inspired to show up under the top side. Inspired also losing his flash on that mid gank and not really getting anything other than Tinone's flash as well. Means that so far, Loud doing a good job weathering some of that early aggression we were talking about them having to get through.
Actually up 700 gold, which is very nice in the early stages of this game. Robo gets out from under the chain. Impact did actually pop World Ender there, trying to harass him down more, but going to have to play damage control here in the top lane, down significantly in CS right now. Maybe going to take it back here as well. Wave in a decent spot. Yeah, going to go ahead, go back.
Yeah, nice timing by Robo there, kind of doing a little bit of sustaining off the Krugs before showing back up to get this shove going and make sure that the freeze is not completed. Nice fake recall a little bit there, making sure that Impact does not get that free reset off.
It really heads up play actually by Robo. Love to see it there. Even going to get some damage down. Oh, he gets a plate out of the deal as well. That's very big incentive to stay.
Yeah, that's huge. Here we see bot side, level 6 early for Kaori.
Ulti, follow up there with the stun. In trouble there for the old Amumu support. Kaori looking for another kill. Gonna find it. Even leaping onto Branch for the second. Gets a little bit of a slither out of the range. It's Inspired. Popping the ulti. Kaori going up. Absolutely massive plays. Inspired. Bramble, I believe, gets that kill.
We're not done yet. Jojo does have the E on him.
There's ulti. Last Q is good. Jojo finds a solo kill.
Oh boy, started a little dicey for EG fans there, but they are popping off now. Jojo finds the solo bolo in the mid lane, showing why it was banned against him a couple of times. And down the bot side, we were talking about Kaori being more of an early game oriented player and how the Taric Callista combo gets more threatening with levels. There you see it at 6, being able to throw him in there, the knock up setting up the stun. Seos' flash was still down from that earlier skirmish. Easy kill there. And then nice job by Kaori using his hops to kind of kite past the Amumu to set up the second kill onto Brands.
Yeah, wonderfully done. Kaori again. They're onto Croc, but looks like EG just going to try and start a fight for this Herald here, but Amumu, ooh, not level 6 actually. No ulti to contribute to this fight, but Loud are going to contest here.
Vulcan has ult now, 6 himself. Support level advantage can be huge in these first Rift Herald fights.
Bruiser no ulti, but level 8, pretty strong. Taking that recall, spending his gold. Impact also on a nice flank angle here.
Yeah, a lot of ults down from the 2 previous fights in mid and bot lane. It should be a situation where Loud do sack this one. Sales moving into the mid lane. Might be able to get 6 off the wave and then see if he can come back in.
Wukong MF ult here as well. Jojo diving in, no ultimate not needed. The flank is good. Tinon's the target. Damage is not quite there. The bullet time is amazing though, and impact goes down to Tinon. Taric ulti is good, but not enough in time to try and get up the bullet time as Robo out of Robo gets the ulti through, and Louder found the fight they're looking for.
Exactly what I said. They move to mid lane. They get 6 on the Amumu. The Taric ultimate is late, and so that allows Loud to kite out the initial flank. Tinon's very well played to survive that, get out, get the turnaround, 2 kills for them. Also going to grab the Rift Herald on the back end of that. Now 1,000 gold up and with the opportunity to find some more plates in this early game.
Yeah, basically reversing the gold lead that EG was starting to build. Again, the flank looks nice here, but Tinon's just weaves his way out of it. And Seos already had it lined up.
Yeah, I just got to say, that was a good idea by both teams. When the bot lane moves to mid wave to try and get 6 on the Amumu, that's when you decide, hey, we're going to go for this flank. And they had Tinon's in a good angle, but his his gravity field got stuns on both solo laners from EG, which was then comboed on top of with the Amumu after he just got 6, allowed Tinons to kite out while Branch dropped that huge ultimate down. So just a absolutely monster team fight from Loud.
Yep, pays off nicely. Should get even more gold, dropping the Herald, picking up some plates. Maybe even get a tower out of the trouble as well, as Robo taking damage out of impact, but about to tick over back into Mega Form. So should be just fine as Robo continues. Looking good here on the NAR, still up in CS very significantly. It's 25 ahead right now. Even managed to pick up the last kill with the ulti as well, making sure that I could pick up an extra.
Yeah, Robo having a great performance here in the top side. Mid lane, it's kind of going more EG's favor. You see Jojo with his big CS lead, about 20 for him, about 20 for Robo. So those kind of even out in the solo lanes. Bot lane as well with the kills that Branch just got means that those are all relatively even. The gold lead is honestly mostly topside, 1,000 in Robo's favor.
And as a result, Croc is going to move up here, take out this ward, and look to drop the Herald Wave's not quite as big as you might want it to be, so actually going to take the recall instead, but Impact doesn't know that, has to think that maybe there's still a Wukong in that brush. At least for a little bit.
Yeah, and I think Robo's doing a really good job of making Inspired come top more than he really wants to. You can see Jojo hovering up to the side of the map, Inspired also making his way up here. They're not sure exactly if Croc is hiding in lane or coming through this pink ward that you have for Robo. So it's forcing pressure away from this bot side where I think ideally that's where they're actually hovering. It's to the opposite side of the map. So Robo might die here. No flash for Inspired.
Flashes in. Gets it down, W there, Q lines up the Bramble very nice as Jojo has the ult. He doesn't want to commit it if he doesn't have to, but the damage should be there, never mind, Robo finds a kill in the 1v3.
Oh my god, I was about to say, overstepped, playing a little too aggressive without his flash, forced Inspired to commit to it, and I thought, okay, well, he's gonna die, but not only does he get the 1-for-1, he also buys a ton of time for them to drop this Rift Herald mid. The 2-man hitting it down, this should actually be the entire turret gone for the side of Loud, grabbing mid lane, funneling more gold into Tinons as well.
That is really nicely done there out of Loud. Robo holding on. Jojo didn't want to commit his ulti, and Impact just too far forward as the charge even happens in mid to get a bit of extra damage done. Jojo's going to farm what plates he can off of the top outer while he's here, so that is good gold for the Akali where EG are strong right now, but Loud, Croc deciding not to use that Herald top paid off massively here in this game.
Yeah, absolutely huge to funnel Tinons, arguably your biggest late game threat on this Victor, getting a lot of gold here. I like this setup by Inspired, knowing that there's no flash on Robo, drops the ultimate up the lane, then goes for the flash WQ, gets the Chilling Smite as well, sets up this kill, should be very easy, but the ult Q W combo from Robo here, excuse me, ult WQ, gets that kill. And for a second I was like, there's no way he's gonna sustain, right?
Robo again, getting picked on though. This is a very nice setup, and Jojo just gonna get in there once again, doesn't need the ulti, gets himself a kill on Robo.
Repaying the fake recall of Robo earlier, getting him some turret plates. This time Jojo sits in that brush, pretends I've reset after grabbing all those turret plates. This is the Jojo show. He is basically highest in CS in the game. 2 kills for himself, lots of solo XP as well, level 10 in the game, highest up there with impact as well. This is going to be critical for Jojo and a big step for him on the international stage to have kind of one of these monster carry performances in that playoff run that they had through the lower bracket when they were going through their struggles with Danny. Jojo had a couple of absolutely monstrous 1v9 games. His swaying game, for example, against TSM in Game 5, he has been stepping up back in spring, they were very vocal that their strategy was feed the Danny, feed the puppy, get him fed, a monster in late game team fights. But that identity has had to change, and they kind of had to do it on the fly in summer playoffs. And JoJo was kind of the guy who became, along with Inspired, who everyone already knew, as the LCS MVP.
Guy's
an
pretty
absolute
good.
beast. Yeah, but JoJo did have to end up putting on more of that carry potential, and it's going to be the same story this game.
Yeah, and apart from his wonderful tweets, this was one of the big reasons we were excited to see JoJo back at an international stage. He himself loved the experience at MSI, learned a lot getting smacked by Caps for most of that early stage of the tournament. And now going to try and show off here up against Lag. We'll need to as well, to your point. 2-0-1. It is certainly the JoJo show here in the mid game.
Yeah, and Loud doing a very good job controlling turret place, though. There you can see they have a fair amount in their pocket. And here, just lay it on the rotation for EG. And so Loud take the inside track. Grant meeting up with Tenno is going to be able to grab second turret of the game in their favor. Got the mid lane, got the top lane now. Opening up these side lanes. The one thing you have to worry about is that means longer lanes for JoJo to try and find chase downs. I really like the decision to go for the crown on Tenno. You can see JoJo using his quarter belt to pop that one off. But that will mean in these team fights, making sure that Tenno has that up and then giving you extra survivability during that dive that's going to be coming through from EG.
Yeah, and we'll see what happens around the next objective, I suppose. 50 seconds to the Herald, 2:30 for the Dragon. It's an Infernal. Loud already got the first Ocean in the earlier stages of the game. To your point, yes, you can execute in these 5v5s. Obviously, Loud, much better and much easier setup for themselves. So I think at least right now, we're going to see a lot of side lane pressure out of EG.
Yeah,
they do not want a 5v5 around an objective if they can help it.
I mean, they do have a very strong dive comp if you can find someone. And the peel tools, if you can get on top of someone instantly and blow them up, are a little slower. It's like the Mumu ult's the only really instant one, maybe the Wukong ult if you're in range. But yeah, realistically, it's on EG's execution, and for Loud to want to try and get to objective first, they don't have to be face checking and walking into this very threatening EG dive.
JoJo also in a spot of bother, knows there's at least one more coming. Good little dodge away, but Sails found him on the other side. Beautiful setup. JoJo burns everything, and the second bandit is going to find him again, but JoJo had the next ulti ready.
Woohoo! JoJo had to blow a lot to get out of there. Nice accuracy by Sails to land both those bandages. JoJo tried the juke back, couldn't do it. The important thing is they've gotten everything out of a call early on.
Impacto has found a big amount of damage here onto the Amumu. Amumu going golden, and now the TP's back in for JoJo. EG might have found the angle they're looking for. Impact does finish off the kill he started, and now Croc going to get chased down. That means no Herald for Loud, and 2 kills for EG.
I thought for sure that Loud were in a great position after forcing everything out of JoJo, but without the Amumu ultimate, did not seem like they had a ton down. Croc also blew his, and that's 2 of your biggest CCs. That's what we were kind of talking about just before that was you need the Amumu and the Wukong to stop EG from running forward, and Impact chunking out the Amumu, forcing him into a bad position. The rest of Loud stepping forward to try and save him, allowed that big Maokai ultimate to find some kills there. Bit of a saving grace here. Impact's been under pressure all game long, but this man knows how to play from behind. He had an infamous game where he was, I think, 0-6 or 1-6 in the LCS and still won the game with insane playmaking. And here it is again, knowing that this is a moment for him to step forward, CC up the Amumu, buy space for the rest of his team to step forward. They get those kills, they get the Rift Herald, they drag the Gold League back to equal.
Yeah, level 7 Amumu versus level 11 Eclipse Aatrox. Not a particularly fair fight.
That sounds fair to me, man.
Well, Impact took those odds, let's say.
Still had to flash out. You know, you say you take those, time to flash as if you're Sails, and there you go. But from here, I mean, they're not out of the woods yet for EG. Still have to kind of keep this pressure up. I think for Loud, this is not the worst spot to be in. This is getting shades of what we just saw in DFM versus Fnatic, where you know, DFM did have a gold lead, and it was still a situation where they had to scale, but Fnatic hadn't been playing great, and then in the mid to late game, they tore them apart. And you kind of heard the analysts talking about how, like, that's one of the things that major regions often have is the mid game over the minor regions, even when a lane phase goes well. And so we'll see if Loud can do a better job. They did beat DFM yesterday, so I do think it's a lot scarier when you have this late game team fighting team for Loud, you know, still only with a Dragon in their back pocket, pre-20 minutes in a good spot. We'll see if EG want to try and contest this one.
Not a bad Drake to get if they can. Inspire does have the ulti ready, only rank 1 though, and Loud is going to take this. So they pop the Herald mid, they're going to try and take the trade for the gold instead.
Yeah, they'll be able to grab this turret with Tauri. We'll see if they want to try and go onto a second turret when they force Loud to walk through this choke point. Impact's on the flank already.
Again, this flank looks good. Maokai gonna set it up. It's Branson, he's been found. It's Impact once again on the playmaking. Jojo's gonna dive into the rest of the team. They'll get one finally as they'll take out Seos, but the counter kill is there. Inspired is dead, and Robo has found himself a shutdown. Now he's gonna hop out to safety because Impact's still chasing. Finds the chain onto Tino's. Brand still with no help. Bullet time, they're going to try and buy some time, but there's nothing left as Tino's will flash away. Actually should be safe, and now the fight turning back in Loud's favor. EG running away, Impact low on health. Croc trying to find the angle. Impact with an incredible sidestep, but will still die to Robo. And is there more for Loud? The slow lands, the ulti out of Vulcan, the stun is there. Jojo's going in, gonna try and make a big play, but Callista dies, Jojo dies. That's the ace for Loud.
Loud are able to kite out evil geniuses onto their own side of the map before turning around and finding the re-engage. The Taric ultimate not keeping Kaori up alive. Robo finding the flank here. It looks so good for EG at the start. This choke point ultimate by Inspired combo with Impact finding this massive chunk out onto France, but he kites down. They get stuck up in this kind of gravity field Victor ultimate area, taking a lot of AoE damage. And when Jojo Pune goes back in, they're not able to actually finish off Robo. They can't finish off Croc. They can't finish off Brand. Then they get this onto Tino's, but he has the stopwatch there to stop the second Q. Is able to flash out of both the stun that was mistimed by Vulcan and Jojo Pune's E. So that means that they haven't finished him off either. And during this whole time, they've just kind of been getting pelted as they were doing all these chase downs. And so now Robo's being able to, as the Gnar, be that annoying, sticky, resetting, Q spamming Yordle. And then right when this comes up, you can see Jojo takes the E off of Kaori, giving them a target. Normally, when you're in the Taric ultimate, the annoying thing about it is there's no one for you to hit. But because Jojo took E2 there, it pulled his ultimate off Kaori, and they just go, all right, we'll kill him first, and then we'll get to Jojo and Vulcan. You can see the head scratch of frustration. The universal sign for that did not go how I wanted.
Yep, and Brand's popping off, living barely. Like, he was still in that fight, peppering away.
I mean,
got to like 100 health.
He was a big reason that fight turned, being able to contribute damage on the MF from range while everyone else slowly became the kind of like hot potato target of the moment that no one was able to get finished off. And I mean, Brance, they showed it in that Champions Queue clip about how that dude is an emotional player, and when he gets going, he absolutely can be the vocal point for a team.
And here we are, another pause. We'll again give you an update as soon as we have some information. But for a game that was been back and forth, Loud actually did have a small lead for a lot of it, although you could kind of see EG maybe heating up, Jojo especially on the Akali, finding a solo kill, finding angles. Now,
it's
Loud have created a significant gold lead.
Yeah, it's up to 3,000 just about on the tail end of that play. Robo is becoming a problem.
Correct.
He is the beefiest member of the team and quite strong himself in terms of damage, going for the Triforce build, and means that EG are very burst-oriented, and you don't want to have to deal with a Gnar. No. You want to kill a Victor. You want to kill an MF, and then the fight be over. But because Gnar is so strong, he's kind of become this third threat who can clean up the tail end of fights.
Yeah, Trinity Force there for Robo, still moving into item number 2. Has kind of a melange right now, but
garage sale build.
Yep, just kind of picked up what he liked. As Jojo once again being hunted, he's trying to pick on a side laner, but Loud know this. They're trying to pick on him, as Tino's maybe going to be the bait. The tower also very attractive looking there for Jojo, get a little bit of extra gold into his pockets, but going to play with enough restraint to not get picked off, as Impact still getting bullied despite the great angles, despite the good playmaking out of Impact. 1v1, Robo is more than happy in this state.
Yeah, very much a map split situation. They're happy to leave Robo down there while they try and overload the side of Tino's, and because there's so many Loud members down there, it's pretty advantageous position for them. They've defended that top turret so far while Robo continues to chip down on the bot lane one. This is looking very scary for North American fans. I gotta tell you, I'm sweating pastry. Loud. They got hands. They're no joke. They took down DFM very easily. Here they are going for their second one, and even against Beyond had a very competitive game. Their sleeper looking like maybe the dark horse for this group to get out. Second, third, we'll have to see how high they can go.
Looking good so far. Definitely a position where they can convert, especially given where they are right now. They're stacking dragons in another minute till they can have a stab at the Hex Tech. France has gold. Everyone's feeling good.
Yeah, I talked about it a little bit yesterday, but people need to remember Tino's, the man himself, the kaboom on Alliance. I love bringing that up to troll EU fans, but we are in the midst of our own potential kaboom here, potentially, with how well he and the rest of his team are playing. He is no stranger. That was back in 2014. Was that 8 years ago? I can't do math.
That's correct.
8 years ago. he did that, and he's still one of the best players in CB LoL here, counted on as a veteran in high-stakes games like this, knowing how to get his team to victory. Robo's more fed, Brance has been popping off, but Tinones has been focused down quite a bit. Yes, that one solo still happened, but since then has recovered expertly.
Looking good there. It's 20 seconds till the dragon is up. I was going to ask you the question, should EG contest for this dragon?
Always yes.
Okay. Well, they're going to.
I don't know if your comp gets any advantages by waiting.
That is true.
And the more dragons you give up is just more power. The enemy team should be scaling better. There's very little, unless it's like a very specific power spike that you need to be waiting for, or your setup is absolutely trash, then maybe you should sack it. But from here, there's no real inherent advantage to Loud right now, other than kind of being in the bot side of that river and Robo working down that turret.
This is not going to be an easy fight to figure out, though. We'll say that much. Again, we talk about execution a lot in these comps. EG going to have to find a very precise angle to win this 5v5.
Yeah, Tinones did just lose his crown. That opens him up as a potential burst target here for EG if they can find the angle. Jojo working on the big wraparound.
Oh, good mark there by Tinones. Loses TP, though. Brute forcing the angle on the EG side here. They're actually onto the dragon as well, but Impact going to be the target. Pops away, moves now. The dragon should go to EG, but can they win the fight at the back of it? Inspire gets a smite down. Is Impact maybe just going to be sacrificed here?
Robo's going.
Taking up a little bit here is Vulcan looking for Robo looking for Vulcan. Bailed out though by Kaori's ulti.
I mean, EG get out with a little bit of a robbery there. Impact serves himself up on a silver platter, loses flash ult for it. They have to use Kalista ult to save Vulcan as well, but you stop the dragon stacking from Loud, you disengage the situation. That could have gone worse. Certainly didn't go well. Stalls the game situation out quite a bit. Does not force the soul point in the future. Gets you a little bit of gold as Jojo, that is a bit of a dangerous recall, gets out. So yeah, that was kind of a net neutral play where like I think EG wanted to win a fight with that double flank pincer they were setting up. Loud did a very good job with their vision control, having both sides flanked. Jojo getting marked by Victor, like you were saying, spotting the teleport coming in meant that EG could not find that fight, but at least they got out with the dragon to kind of give them probably a 4-minute buffer before we do that again.
Yep, again, did say ask if they would contest. The answer obviously yes. Don't have to fight to contest for the objective.
Uh-oh.
And now in the 1v2, I don't know if I fancy EG's chances. Now I really don't with Tinones here as well, but Jojo is going to try and make the big play. That did no damage. But now Robo going to flash out of the way because Kaori's here as well. EG, again, just brute forcing onto Loud, and they're going to get Robo down. The shutdown goes to Kaori, and Impact collects the next kill.
They commit 3 people down, though. No teleports left up for EG. Loud is working down the Baron right now. 2v3 with Vulcan and Inspire trying to stop this themselves, but there's not much damage.
Double MVP Inspire. Can he do it? The Baron's still the target there. Vulcan trying to buy time. Oh, no! Inspire got 2 kills. He killed the whole bottom lane, and now Vulcan and Croc are doing battle. Vulcan's not going to win that one, but Inspired with his buddies will, and it has gone absolutely upside down, topsy-turvy here for Loud, as Croc trying to find a miracle steal, but Impact's going to shut the door on that as well. EG flipping the game right back around.
EG know they are in trouble. They start creating a chaotic game state. The fact that Tinones went to back up Robo was a critical mistake by them, thinking that it was just going to be a 2v2 and that their solo laner should be stronger. But the backup that came in for the Kalista, Kaori making them roam all the way from mid lane, as we see in the picture-in-picture, an escape by Jojo probably. Here, the Mega Gnar is timing out. Even though they don't have a good job killing him in Mega Gnar form, they kind of just wait for it to end, and then they can actually kill him. Jojo prioritizing staying healthy. They pop the crown there as well off Tinones. And then here's Kaori, who moved in from mid lane to make this play happen. I don't think they were quite counting on that. So after they get those 2 kills, that's 3 members down there, and you can kind of see the idea of, hey, let's do Baron. But you only have 1 DPS threat realistically here in Brance. They're taking so much damage from the Baron. They're not that tanky. The Rash brothers of Vulcan and Jojo show up. An invulnerable tree that just got insanely buffed in the last couple of patches. Not at all what you want to deal with. I like the decision here. It looks kind of troll to let Vulcan die, but it kept the Baron leash just to make sure that you could actually grab down the tail end of that fight.
And now Impact once again in the bottom lane, going kind of wild. Here's Inspired. MVP of the last little exchange, you have to think. As EG, with this Baron on the Red Bull Baron power play, are trying to really get this game done. It has been back and forth, but they broke it open in a very unconventional way, and EG are trying to punish as hard as they can.
Yeah, they need to get as much of a gold lead as possible. It's only 2,000 right now, so if you're not able to extend this much further, yeah, that was a really cool play that you just pulled off, but if you're heading into the next couple Dragons with only a 2,000 gold lead with these comps, it's definitely not put Loud in the dirt quite yet, so they're going to try and grab these last two inner turrets, most likely working down this bot side one right now. Impact taking a 1v1 versus Robo, but even with Baron, it's a tough fight.
Yeah, has not been particularly well. Oh, Robo's just in there. Let's go, man! Gets the Mega Nut transformation, diving in. Not going to complete it. Well done to pop by Impact. We're not going to keep on chasing the 4v4 down the bottom side, though, where we have to focus our attention. EG slowing things down, letting the Cannon and the Baron siege up this tower.
Yeah, you gotta give a little respect to an Aatrox at level 15 with Eclipse done underneath the turret and popping his ultimate. That's a lot of self-healing that comes in. Bit of an overstep by Robo there.
At it again here in the picture-in-picture. Tower goes down to EG, but Impact still trying to make it happen. Robo zipping out of the way. Impact is in hot pursuit, though. Hex Gates, though, gonna bail out Robo.
I feel like the Hex Gates have showed up a lot in Worlds so far. It's very early in the tournament, but it does feel like the early favorite for people's pick'ems on most Drakes taken.
Hextech Rift is the best Rift.
I greatly enjoy it.
So I maybe should have gone with Hextech, but I had to capitalize on the means.
You went Cloud?
I did go Cloud.
Very understandable. Nice use of Robo there. You could see kind of what Impact was thinking, chasing him towards the middle of the map where his team should have first move, but then using the Hex Gates, Robo knowing he's safe.
Now he's back. Fight actually starting off to play. Jojo with the Tarek stun in midair. It's going to make it happen. Blows up the enemy of Mumu, and now the ulti from Vulcan is going to let the re-engage happen. No follow-up there from Cowrie as he does pop Fate's call, but one kill's good enough for EG.
Yeah, EG able to find that easy kill onto the Amumu, like you said. So many dive partners for Tarek to find these easy stuns. It's always been what makes Tarek so strong, the old Tarek E combos and things like that. People who can get melee range and just give you a guaranteed stun makes Akali pretty broken.
Jojo looking for the wraparound of the Century here as he's flunking all the way back around mid. EG just ignoring this Dragon. It's only a second Drake for them. They want to fight instead. Not finding an angle, though, going to have to back away. Remember, Loud have a lot of ultis at the ready.
Yeah, they did just use Tarek, Kalista, basically every ult but Impacts.
Correct.
Much easier to say what they didn't use than what they did. And so they are a little sketched out here, but they are going to burn this Dragon down. We'll see if Loud want to let them out of this situation, though.
Jojo did mark the Amumu. Had the solo kill potentially, but missed the Shuriken flip. Jojo, they're going to look for it again. Inspire with the ulti coming back up. Is going to go for it there to disengage, but can Loud find the angle? Robo ready with the Mega, has the flash. Inspired's got to get out of there. EG need to be very careful here. It's Croc diving on in. They're looking to make it happen. Ball time's there, but Jojo dives on in onto Brand, but he gets blown up in and amongst the gravity field and Inspired. The unkillable Demon Tree is going absolutely wild as Cowrie follows up with the rest of the squad. Impact going to get Tino's down, and EG going to get their way out of a very sticky situation this game. But Robo, the menace in the top lane, will finally be quelled as Cowrie's going off on Kalista.
They will eventually find this kill. The Ren coming through soon. The hops will be resetting here. Robo's pretty quick. Does have a force of nature, so you try and get Mega.
He's gonna get Mega, still gonna die, but how much longer can he live? Oh, gotta be careful. Never mind, Shield Bow's gonna make it very easy, and Inspired finds the ace.
All right, Cowrie coming up big. We talked about how much carrying Jojo had to do this game, but finally someone else steps up around him here. Jojo going in, kind of ahead of the rest of his team. It's very dicey without the Kalista or Tarek ultimates. Trying to team fight those are critical, but he gets enough chunk on the brands to stop that ultimate from coming through. Also puts them very low, and so you can see Inspired and Cowrie being aggressive, even though Jojo's dead, finding the backline members of Loud, and then that allows Impact and Vulcan to run back forward through the fight, get these extra kills. Impact finishes off Pinone's there, and the rest of the team chases down Robo in that extended sequence. Feeling very good now, up to a 6,000 gold lead, 2 Hextech Dragons in their back pocket. Baron coming up in 30 seconds with complete control of the map for the side of EG. Quietly, we've been talking about Jojo Pino so much.
Yeah.
After that fight, you have 7 kills for Cowrie and Inspired on tanks. I don't know how he does it. When it's like a tank Vi, when it's Sejuani solo killing like a 6-item, I forget what he fought, but he got a solo kill in playoffs this way. Here he is again, 6-1-8, full tank Maokai, just obliterating people.
Double stopwatch as well for the EG solo laners, so setting up very nicely for the next encounter, likely around the Baron, as you alluded to, as it does now spawn. But yes, there is something about Inspired, and also I think just something about the tree. Seems pretty good in the sample size we've gotten already.
I can see how in scrims you might not be blown away by the early game of the Maokai beyond just being a really annoying chain ganker. But the utility he has brought in mid to late game with this sapling spam, with the ult zone control, the fact that it's not that long of cooldown. You saw Inspired's ult was the first one back up from EG there, critically allowed them to take that team fight. I think you'll see this priority go up a lot over the course of this tournament.
I think so too, and here we go again. It is Kalista lining up the Baron, getting all the spears in. Kaori, 4 items now, if my eyes didn't trick me. I only saw the scoreboard briefly, but EG are going for a loud no. They have to find the fight here. Jojo looking for the angle, maybe going to delay this take on the Baron. In fact, they pull off completely as Inspired sets up the ulti. It's EG that want the fight instead. Route 1 there happens onto Robo, but that's not the target they can jump on. Reset once again for EG.
Well played by Loud there, the fact that they were able to sit behind Croc, who did a good job stepping forward, taking that Maokai ultimate, as well as the fact this is one of the few fights where I've seen Tinone's crown up at the start of it, which I think is very scary if you're in EG's position. If you have not popped that yet, it is dangerous to dive on top of him. You can see Inspired has marked him with the Anathema's chain, kind of identifying that even though the Victor is 1, 3, and 6 at 3 items, he is realistically slightly scarier than the MF. If MF drops her full ultimate, yes, that's dangerous. But outside of that window, the Victor is the bigger threat over the course of it, so I can understand them going for him as the priority. But like we said, no crown shattered, then you don't want to go for him.
I feel like there's also enough dive where like Brance has to contend with like autoing an Akali that's jumping on him, right? Like can't necessarily just sit there trying to ball time and expect things to go well unless you find an absolutely incredible position in fog over the wall. Whereas Tinone's, you know, got a little mage bruiser action there with the crown. He's gonna live, and Chaostorm keeps on ticking. Like, if you do not touch this Victor, he will do enough DPS to win them fights.
Yeah, absolutely the case. So I do like the prioritization by EG. I like pulling off that Baron once they realize they did not get the initial setup that they wanted. I think that they can go into this next Dragon with the goalie that they have. Initially, I was talking about having to accelerate the game a lot more when they were even in goal, but now that they're ahead, they should have priority on most of these neutral objectives. They can set up, they can force Loud into them, and then they can probably win that fight if they're able to have these clean executions. But there is still that kind of barrier because Robo has been slightly silenced. He's still a bit of a threat on 3 items. 3 items for the Victor, 3 items for the MF. They're on those kinds of like big power spikes.
Yep. Also ulti ranks pretty close to rank 3 there for Brance as well. Level 15, which is also a pretty big boost in power. Robo just getting jumped on there. Jojo with the Taric behind him. And that's no Magana. That's dead. Kaori on a rampage. Inspired. Once again into the back line as Jojo Bjorn absolutely obliterates the enemy AD carry. And Impact's gonna kind of kill number 4. And it is only the King wearing the crown for Tinone's here to try and run away, but EG are going to storm the rest of the game through mid and end the game. As Inspired once again will not be stopped. That CC, by the way, lasted way too long, and there's an ace for Inspired.
You see the power of the Anathema's chains coming through, but Jojo Fume popping off against Robo, and the Mini-Gnar form, the stun assist by Vulcan, giving him the assassination potential. Once the main frontline member was blown up, it was an easy chase down sequence for EG to find their first win of Worlds 2022.
Cloud certainly made them work for it, but EG do come away victorious. A chaotic affair between the US and Brazil, but it's EG that finds this first win.
You can see, though, a stressful look for Kaori there on your screen. He could tell that that was a game that was maybe a little difficult.